Hey guys, so just again a heads up that the response to CCUS second video about Mabel is up now. Put a link in the description. But I also opened up the comments to the first part of my first response that I did, because I had actually disabled the comments to that for quite a while. But I decided now was the time to open it up again, because it annoys me that YouTube hides the comments when you disable comments on a video. You know, you can't see any of the previously left comments, and I didn't think that was right, so I thought it might be kind of interesting to just read some of the comments that were left on that video and just try and respond to some of them. Just to say, most of your points aren't denying or agreeing with the video, you're just saying what's happened. I assume by denying they mean disagreeing. They mean, you know, I'm not disagreeing with the video, I'm not agreeing with it either. I'm just saying what happened in the video, I'm just relaying the facts. And I guess I can kind of see why they would say that. I'm more just sort of trying to emphasise the fact that CC West overlooks a lot of important details that sort of make a lot of Mabel's actions, a bit more understandable. A very big part of your argumentation consists of saying it's just sibling rivalry or other characters did it too. I don't think I ever talk about sibling rivalry in the video. To be honest, I've never really liked the term sibling rivalry. I have a sister, and I never once considered her a rival. You know, we have conflict and we have issues with one another, but I never tried to sort of make out that I was better than her, or try to make out that she was the bad guy in some kind of way. Trick her. She might feel differently. I don't know. I've never really spoken to her about it, but I never considered it a rivalry, the relationship that I had with her. I don't believe sibling rivalry is as big a thing as people make it out to be, but, you know, different kids are going to be different with one another. But yes, I do definitely say other characters do things in the video. My point with that is we're talking about how awful it is that Mabel's doing this thing, so why aren't we talking about the fact that other characters are doing it as well? You know, why do they all get a free pass, but, you know, Mabel is singled out as the bad one here? I don't think that that's a big part of the video, though. I don't agree with that part. I think those are maybe two things that I do say in the video, but I say many other things as well. Your arguments are pretty weak. In each section, it's either sibling rivalry or she's not the only one. Okay, so this is, again, much the same thing as the previous comments, so, I just refer you to what I previously said. I don't think that's a large part of what I say. I don't believe I'd ever talk about sibling rivalry in the video. And again, other characters are doing this as well. Why is Mabel being singled out? Also, you've been pointing out petty things to pad out the runtime. I don't believe I ever do that in the video. I never at any time when writing a script or editing, I've never once thought about padding the runtime in any of the videos. If that's an impression you got from something in the video, I can assure you that's not the intention. Zeus, wow. I just think it's kind of funny that they've misspelled Zeus in that. I don't really understand what the purpose of that comment is, but it's just sort of funny. It's a 4-letter name and they've managed to spell it wrong. Just think that's kind of funny that somebody's just left that as a comment. Possibly it's supposed to be read as "aww." Also, I like the name. My is fangirling. So you're saying if your sister, who was clearly sad in a relationship, I'm not quite sure why relationship is in quotes there, with someone she didn't like, and it gets annoying how people only make excuses for Mabel. No hard facts. I'm pretty sure I do use hard facts, as in, it's all based on what is actually in the show. Well, she's just a girl, she's being pressured. I guess they're talking about when Mabel tries to break up with Gideon, and, the pressure of the people in the restaurant is too much for her. And then, of course, Dipper goes and speaks to Gideon when he's not under the pressure of the people in the restaurant, and he's able to successfully get Gideon to break up with Mabel. Gideon goes nuts, but I don't think we can really fault Dipper or Mabel for that. I think that was just going to happen anyway. Yeah, Dipper and Mabel are different characters, and they react to the same situation in different kinds of ways. That's what makes, them interesting characters. It would be a boring show if all the characters were the same. If you put Dipper in those situations, he would rise to the challenge, and he already did that in the road trip episode. Roadside Attraction, I think, is the episode they're talking about here, where Dipper plucks up the courage to ask out a bunch of girls and get their phone numbers off them. And basically their point is, Dipper was able to, rise up to the challenge of asking out a bunch of girls. Mabel wouldn't do that. Have they watched this show at all? One of the first things we see Mabel do, one of the things that establishes Mabel's character is that she's constantly going around asking out guys. So yeah, they've picked a terrible example there if they want to emphasise the fact that Dipper is able to do things Mabel isn't. I don't really see a problem in the fact that Dipper has the courage or the bravery to do certain things that Mabel doesn't. You know, Dipper and Mabel are different characters. They do things differently. It's just sort of funny that that particular example they chose to give of Dipper having the courage to ask people out is a terrible example if he's trying to make the point that Dipper is a better person than Mabel, because Mabel did that all the time. So your excuse is the show would be boring. I make the point in the video that the show would be boring if all the characters were perfect. That is definitely an argument that I make in the video. Also, do you think they've used enough question marks here? The best thing about this is your fake British accent. I think this might just be a troll, to be honest. The accent is real, by the way. I've lived in Britain my whole life. Sibling rivalry? Really? Again, I don't know where people are getting this idea from that I talk about sibling rivalry. I haven't been back and re-watched the videos, and it's been a while since I put them on YouTube. Maybe I mentioned sibling rivalry at some point in the video. I can't think why I would have done, because it's not really something I've ever believed in as a concept. Maybe they don't necessarily mean that I use the specific term sibling rivalry. They just mean that that's the sort of thing that I talk about in the video. You know, the dynamic between brothers and sisters, or just siblings in general. It's the kind of frustrating thing. Nobody actually specifies anything that I say in the videos, so it's difficult to know what they are referring to here. Even after your sibling tried to force you to tell your crush your true feelings, makes you kiss a merman. She never did that. Dipper did that on his own. Start an Armageddon, also known as Weirdmageddon, and much more. You think you want to forgive them? Yes, I do. Oh, sure, you say that you forgive them. It's like you read my mind. That is exactly what I said. But deep inside you know that you hate her. No, I don't. For all the bad things she's done. Well, the bad things she's done indirectly and then makes up for with her actions afterwards. You may say other characters have done some shite too. Again, I never say that in the video. I don't think I ever talk about bad things other characters do. I talk about them doing the same sort of things as Mabel's doing, when it comes to the sort of teasing of Dipper that CC West talks about, but I never sort of specify anything else that bad characters have done. The weight of her actions is much more than any other main character from the bunch. In the case of Weirdmageddon, I disagree. I think the role Stan played in causing Weirdmageddon is far, far more impactful than the role Mabel plays in that happening, because he actually put together the portal over many, many years of work, and Mabel is just maybe a single moment of weakness when she's fooled by Bill. I'm willing to discuss this with anyone. They weren't willing to discuss this with anyone. I left them one reply and that I never heard back from them. Maybe that's the fault of YouTube, because they are a bit inconsistent with sending people alerts about people sending them replies or anything. Sometimes I actually have to, just scroll all the way through the comment section of my videos to see if anybody's replied to what I've said a lot of the time, because I don't get alerts or emails a lot of the time when people leave new comments. It's very strange. I don't understand what YouTube's doing. But yeah, it is funny that they finished the comment like that, and yet they never even left one other response. Okay, what about the fact she was a hypocrite? She couldn't tell Gideon that she wanted to break up with him because she felt pressured. But she had the guts to force Dipper on confessing to Wendy despite knowing he didn't want to. This is an interesting point that a lot of people bring up. She wasn't willing to break up with Gideon herself, but she does feel like Dipper should confess his feelings to Wendy. A couple of things I would say about that is, first of all, they're not quite the same thing. Breaking up with a person and confessing your feelings to a person are not really the same sort of thing. They're both sort of emotionally difficult things to do, but one is sort of, for a fact it's going to hurt someone, breaking up with them. The other might ultimately have some better sort of consequences, because they might like you back, and even if they don't, they're probably going to be okay with it. It's a far less intimidating thing to step into. They're both difficult things, but they're difficult for different reasons, I think. Also, the other factor you need to consider is the fact that Mabel knew that she did need to break up with Gideon. She just didn't have the gall to do it herself. As soon as Dipper offered to do it for her, she was fine with that, and she was very grateful for the fact that he was willing to do that. Dipper doesn't want anyone to tell Wendy how he feels about her. And ultimately, when he does tell Wendy, he doesn't even realise that she's listening. Ultimately, he doesn't even really sort of step up to the sort of situation in the same way that Mabel isn't willing to step up to that situation. And Dipper isn't even being pressurised by anyone. The only thing that's sort of putting him off is the sort of fear of rejection from Wendy. Yeah, this is something that a lot of people that are quite critical of Mabel have brought up, and it's a good point, but I think the things to consider are the fact that it's something Mabel actually wanted to do, she just didn't have the gall to do it, whereas Dipper wasn't even willing to do it. And the other is the fact that breaking up with a person and confessing your feelings to a person are not really quite the same thing. Okay, so that's that, guys. That's a few of the comments I've been getting. So see you guys later.